Channel.
Hey, you know what time it is?
What time is it, man?
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of The Beatdown, the segment and channel where two worlds collide. I am your host, Class. This is my co-host,
Mr. J. What's going on, guys? We are back at it again with another one for you guys. And of course, as always, we would like to remind you, if you enjoy our content or our videos, go in the section below, like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Yeah. Let's get into it, guys. I will be representing DC Comics Brainiac.
The fewer beings who have the knowledge, the more precious it becomes.
Let's get into the brief origin story time. Brainiac's origins, now there's a ton of interpretations, but I'm going to talk about the old school classic. So, in the beginning, Superman, but Clark at the time, and Lois were going as journalists on a rocket expedition. They were testing out this new cool rocket that they were trying out in NASA. And on that little trip over, I don't know why they would bring journalists into it, but anyways, on that trip over, they notice a spaceship. Well, at least Clark notices a spaceship, and then he decides to take a look inside to see what's inside the spaceship, and he notices a green man. And the green man saying something out loud, saying, "Oh, I hope they don't know about my plans to shrink their planet." So Clark freaking out, going, "Oh crap, I can't let that happen." He decides to change into his costume, go to the moon or something behind the moon and dress up, and then go and become Superman, run to this guy, and then go one-on-one with Brainiac. Now, tragically, the most interesting part about this counter was that Brainiac beat Superman the first time. So it was a very total shock to Superman. Eventually, Superman gets stuck into a bottle. And Brainiac falls asleep or in hibernation because he's taking all the collection of people. He succeeded on getting Earth and putting it in a bottle. Eventually, he's trying to take the planet with him and take it back to take the spaceship and fly back to his planet. And Superman is trapped in one of these little glass bottles. He meets another Kryptonian. Somehow they work together to undo the shrinking process. Superman manages to save everybody, but at the end of it all, that's just a brief origin story of Brainiac. All right, now we're gonna get into the powers, abilities, and feats. Okay, all right, let's get into it. He has technopathy, telekinesis, superior super strength, invulnerability, enhanced intellect, energy projection, possession, replication, superhuman strength, superhuman durability, superhuman speed, self-sustenance, regeneration. His gear, he has a spaceship, force field belt, shrink ray, created a molecular reconstruction gun, and he has a sun missiles. Has a missile that can trigger explosions, reactions in stars. Yeah, and some of his impressive feats, he took over the mind of Supergirl. His ship overpowered Aquaman in his own element in the water. He can control metahumans, including, that's the most interesting part, Green Lantern, Booster Gold, and Deathstroke. He knocked down New Gods, defeated superhumans in their he defeated Superman in their first encounter, possessed Doomsday's body. Yeah. Okay. So this was the most interesting feat, I thought. His intellect can process and sort through the knowledge of over 490 octocillion beings. Okay, it's a number that's more than trillions. Okay, it's a number that's 18. I think it has 18 zeros or 16 zeros in it. It's a crazy amount of numbers that he's able to have that kind of vast amount of knowledge, which means he can really, really, really learn somebody at a very fast pace during any kind of interaction, any kind of encounter. All right, so let's talk about the end game. A few things I'll talk about. Let's talk about his spaceship. In order for Brainiac to keep it to his home field advantage, he's got to stay in the spaceship, obviously. And I don't think Kang the Conqueror is going to be afraid of nothing. Let's be real. I'm pretty sure he's confident that he has the vast amount of technology to get inside someone else's element and be able to take him on. So I think Kang is going to get a little brave, get inside into that spaceship, and that's where it's going to meet his doom. Now, keep to mind, Brainiac, his greatest strength is that he was able to take on Superman. Now, he has that superhuman element of strength, which means that I do believe he will be able to overpower Kang. Let's say they get into a fight. mean swings wise, I gotta give it to Brainiac. I think he's gonna hit him harder than Kang's gonna be able to throw it. Kang usually relies on his technology to kind of give him the upper hand. My understanding is that Brainiac being able to fight somebody like Superman who's able to lift bench press the weight of the earth for 5 days straight, I gotta say that's gotta mean something. So spaceship, mean swing, I gotta give it to Brainiac. Plus in his home element, that means anything he has in his possession around him is gonna help him out. His whole spaceship is a weapon. It's a trap. Everything he uses, it comes out of his mind. All he has to do is think it, and boom. He can grab him with claws. He can shoot him with a ray. He can shoot him with a blast. He can shoot him with a reversible anything. He can do anything. He can freeze him. He can do a bunch of things in his own home field advantage. Given Brainiac's intellect, I do believe that anything that Kang has from the future isn't going to mean squat. Usually it means, hey, he's got a home field. He's got an advantage because obviously things from the 30th century, no one's going to beat that. But the problem with this is that I got to give it to Brainiac because he's smart enough to figure things out. His intellect is beyond comparison. That means that if anything advanced did show up, he would be able to figure it out. He'd be able to counter-strike it. He has a ship that actually tells him and how to figure out weaknesses to people he's facing against. So given that Kang usually relies on tech or whatever he's relying on, he's going to find a weakness. Now, Brainiac is going to need to use that to give himself that home field advantage, obviously, when it comes to going against again. And on top of that, maybe he can use his own tech, which is obviously the shrink ray. Shrinking Kang the Conqueror into a miniaturized size, maybe he could squish him before Kang could react. There is that small possibility of a window of opportunity there. So a couple of the other points I'll make is that he was able to mind control people's bodies. Maybe he's able to mind control Kang the Conqueror. Might be able to get him to put his defense, his guard down. He might even be able to summon Doomsday if he needed to. Let's say throwing the wild card in there, he could actually possess the power of mind control and Doomsday to come to his aid and assist him in the situation if he needed to at that moment's notice. Kang seeing an unstoppable beast coming his way might have some tech that might be able to slow it down, but Doomsday isn't really that easy to slow down. I mean, you literally have to cryogenically freeze him for him to completely stop in his tracks. So I would say that having that extra backup would come in handy if he needs it in a moment's notice. But so here's the interesting part. Kang has a code of honor. He will fight, but he won't fight dirty. He won't go back in time and smother you as a child, even though he has the technology to do that. But Brainiac would. Brainiac could get his spaceship to modify the exact replication of his weapons, which means that if the spaceship were to figure out that he has a time traveling device, that means that it could replicate it, create it for Brainiac. Brainiac could use it to his advantage, travel back in time, and kill Kang before he even sees him coming. Or he could do it repeatedly, but now he has a time traveling device thanks to Kang the Conqueror. And Brainiac is smart enough to replicate that type of technology. So, bottom line is this. His strength is a Superman level. His intellect is enough of advancedness that it will be able to counter-maneuver any kind of weaponry that Kang the Conqueror might provide. And at the end of the day, Brainiac can always just switch his bodies. He has all these other extra droids in his assistance, and they're pretty much tough as nails. So I got to give it at the end of the day, Brainiac is going to win this one.
I will be representing Marvel's Kang the Conqueror.
I hope you enjoy the rest of your days on this dead earth.
Nathaniel Richards, also known as Kang. He is a descendant of Reed Richards. Now, going into his origin a little briefly, he's a time traveler. He's extremely intelligent, and I believe he's from the 40th century?
The 30th, and then his girlfriend was from the 40th.
Yeah. Well, he was a warlord in his time. The problem is, he was getting extremely restless and bored, given that in his timeline, war was pretty much non-existent, and, no one really fought anymore. So, what he did was he invented a time machine. But also in the process, he invented a highly complex and extremely strong battle armor, which is also very durable. Now, this armor increases Kang's already impressive abilities, but the entire purpose of this was it was pretty much made as a statement, as his claim to love of warfare. And he set out on his mission to become the greatest warlord of all time. And that's pretty much what set him on his little I guess, battle with the Avengers and a lot of Marvel's heroes. Now, going into his abilities, as I've already mentioned, the battle armor grants him an increased strength. It has a holographic projection, and I do believe it can also make copies of, or at least holographic copies of Kang. It gives him a 30-day supply of air and food, and I do believe it gives him the ability to control other forms of AI or other forms of technology. That's going to come in handy later. So, being Reed's descendant, obviously, you've already probably guessed, and yes, he does have a genius intellect. However, he's also a very skilled tactician and is extremely well-rounded hand-to-hand combat. Also, he is immune, I believe, to radiation.
Oh, that's interesting.
Or maybe not immune, but at least he has a high resistance to radiation. Going into his feats, let's see. While armorless, Kang overpowered the Patriot. He overpowered Eamon. Sorry, I really don't know how to pronounce that. Eamon is basically a clone of the Apocalypse. Yes, that Apocalypse.
Wow.
From X-Men.
Yeah. Oh, wow. The one who created all mutants. So we're clear, everybody.
He caught Cap's shield at point blank range.
Ooh.
After a space station fell on him from orbit, from the wreckage, Kang emerged a little weakened, but he was battle ready. And of course, last but not least, he can tank a blow from Thor and his hammer. Now, going into the end game, I mean, really, I'm just going to have to disagree with certain things you say in order to make my point. I'm not sure, given that they're from two totally different time periods, and Kang's technology and weaponry is so advanced, I'm not entirely sure that Brainiac's systems can entirely copy it or at least comprehend it. Brainiac himself may be able to comprehend these things given his high intellect and intelligence, but his technology, I'm not entirely sure it's going to be able to replicate it to its full abilities, at least to its full potential, or at least have a wide knowledge of how it works. Brainiac, like I said, may be able to figure it out, but given Kang's experience over time, I want to say he's going to have a trick or two up his sleeve, and also his ability to control technology. My whole thing with this fight would be trying to get Brainiac out into the open. Maybe, I want to say, Kang time travels him somewhere to an area where it's highly full of radiation. Like he could send him back in time and send him to the bomb site of like Hiroshima, to an area full of high radiation. Like I said, after the bomb hit Hiroshima, like right after, when it was at its highest radiation point, take him there, fight him there, and given that Kang has that resistance to radiation, it may not bother him as much. And especially if he has the armor, who knows, it may not bother him at all. And another thing I want to say he could do is, like I said, he has the ability to take over technology. So he could possibly turn Brainiac's entire ship against him, forcing him out into the open, which gives him the opening he needs to take him, time travel him back to where, he has the advantage. Once he has the advantage, given his strength, technology, and his armor, I don't think Brainiac's going to be able to stand with him. Yeah, and that's my endgame.
Okay, I see that. All right. Okay, guys. As always, it's not up to me. It's not up to my boy. It's up to you guys. So, if you guys liked my argument, you can hashtag Brainiac. And if you liked my boy's argument, what can you do, brother?
Hashtag Kang.
And as always, No Press Fan, we really appreciate you guys. Catch you guys later. Peace.